Ancient Greece is one of the most influential civilizations in human history. Tonight, we're traveling gently into a day in the life of ancient Greece. This soft-spoken, calming history is designed to help you unwind, relax, and drift peacefully into sleep. Its stories, ideas, and discoveries continue to shape how we think, speak, learn, and understand the world today. Tonight, we're going to take a quiet journey through this remarkable culture, gently exploring how people lived, what they believed, and how their society grew over hundreds of years. We'll begin with the earliest Greek communities, small settlements scattered across rocky coastlines and mountain valleys. We'll learn how geography shaped their lives, how villages became cities, and how those cities developed their own customs, gods, and ways of thinking. We'll drift into the daily routines of farmers, sailors, and traders. We'll explore markets, temples, athletics, music, and storytelling. We'll meet great thinkers like Socrates and Plato, and wander through ancient theaters where myths came alive under open skies.
We'll move softly through the rise of powerful city-states, including Athens and Sparta, and we'll see how war, cooperation, and democracy emerged from their rivalry. And finally, we'll follow Greece into its golden age, a time of art, philosophy, architecture, and discovery that continues to echo through the world. As you settle into a comfortable position, let your breathing slow, let your mind soften, and let this story guide you gently into rest.
Ancient Greece began not with a single kingdom, but with many small communities spread across a landscape filled with mountains, islands, and coastline. The land was rugged, and much of it was difficult to farm. Instead of wide open plains like those of Egypt or Mesopotamia, Greece was broken into separate regions, each shaped by its own valleys, hillsides, and narrow strips of fertile ground. This geography created a world where communities grew independently. Towns in one valley might live very differently from those across the mountains. Over time, these local groups developed into what we call city-states or polis, small, self-governing societies centered around a town and its surrounding farmland. The sea played an enormous role in Greek life. With hundreds of islands and miles of coastline, the sea became a highway connecting people. Greek sailors traveled widely, trading pottery, olive oil, and wine in exchange for grain, metals, and luxury goods. The sea brought wealth, but also stories, myths of distant lands, monstrous creatures, and heroic voyages that shaped Greek imagination. The earliest Greek cultures included the Minoans, who lived on the island of Crete. They built large palaces decorated with colorful paintings of animals, dancers, and sea life. Their art shows a world full of movement and elegance. The Minoans were skilled sailors, and their ships traveled across the Mediterranean, connecting them to Egypt, Cyprus, and the Near East. Later came the Mycenaeans, who lived on mainland Greece. They built fortified hilltop palaces with strong stone walls and rich royal graves, filled with weapons, gold masks, and precious goods. They were the people who inspired the legends of heroes like Agamemnon and Achilles. After the collapse of the Mycenaean world, Greece entered a quieter era, sometimes called the Dark Age. Populations dropped, writing disappeared. For a time, life slowed down into small villages, but even in this simplicity, important foundations were forming. New pottery styles, trade routes, and religious practices continued to evolve. By around 800 BCE, Greek society began to grow vibrant again. Villages expanded into towns, writing returned, trade flourished, and across the land, city-states took shape, each with its own government, customs, and gods. This is the Greece we think of today when we imagine ancient temples, marble statues, philosophers, and warriors, a world shaped by independence, united by shared language and belief, and destined to leave an immense legacy.
Every Greek city-state or polis was its own small world. Even if two cities were only a day's journey apart, their traditions could be completely different, but most shared a similar structure. At the center stood the agora, an open marketplace where people gathered
To buy food, trade goods, and discuss news. The agora was lively, filled with merchants selling vegetables, olives, figs, meat, and fish, brought in from the coast. Craftsmen shaped bronze tools, pottery, and jewelry. Travelers shared stories from distant lands. Not far from the marketplace was the Acropolis, a fortified hilltop used for protection in times of war. Over time, many acropolises became
religious centers crowned with temples dedicated to gods like Athena,
Apollo, or Zeus.
The typical Greek home was simple, built from mud brick, with small rooms arranged around a central courtyard. Families cooked meals over clay hearths, stored olive oil in large jars, and ground grain to make bread. Evenings were quiet, filled with conversation, music, or
storytelling.
For most Greeks, daily life was shaped by farming. The rocky soil didn't
allow for huge fields, but families grew what they could: olives,
grapes, barley, and vegetables. Goats and sheep provided milk, wool, and cheese. Farming was difficult work, but it kept communities stable. Children learned through imitation. Boys helped fathers in the fields or
workshops. Girls helped mothers weave cloth, bake bread, or care for the home. In some cities, especially Athens, boys later received formal
education in reading, writing, music, and athletics.
Religion was deeply woven into everyday life. Greeks believed the gods
watched over every part of existence: weather, harvests, travel, illness, and family. People visited temples to pray, offer gifts, or ask for guidance. Festivals brought entire cities together with music, feasting, parades, and athletic competitions.
Night in a Greek city was calm. Oil lamps flickered softly in homes and
workshops. The sea breeze carried cool air inland. Families gathered too. Eat, share stories, and rest after long days of work. Greece moved gently into sleep, held by the warmth of community and tradition. Athens grew along the rocky peninsula of Attica, a land of hills, olive trees, and open shoreline. Unlike other Greek cities shaped mainly by warfare or farming, Athens became known for its curiosity, its art, and its desire to understand the world through reason. The heart of Athenian life was participation.
In the polis, citizens gathered to debate laws, vote on decisions, and guide the direction of their city. This system, though limited to free men, became the early model for democracy. The city itself was full of energy. Merchants filled the agora, selling
tools, spices, pottery, and cloth. Philosophers wandered through the
marketplace, stopping to question passers-by about justice, courage, and virtue. Artists carved statues from marble, capturing the human form
with remarkable detail. Athenians valued beauty, knowledge, and
conversation.
Education in Athens was centered around balance. Boys learned reading,
writing, music, and physical training. Music shaped the soul. Athletics strengthened the body. Philosophy sharpened the mind. Teachers guided students in poetry, mathematics, and the art of clear speech. A
well-rounded citizen was one who could think deeply and act honorably. As Athens grew wealthier, it invested in temples, theaters, and schools. The Acropolis rose high above the city, crowned by the Parthenon, a magnificent temple dedicated to Athena. Its columns glowed in the sunlight. Its sculptures told stories of gods, heroes, and the triumph
of order over chaos. Philosophy blossomed in Athens. Thinkers like Socrates urged people to
examine their beliefs, to question assumptions, and to seek truth.
Through dialogue. Plato, his student, explored ideas about justice, knowledge, and the nature of reality. Aristotle, in turn, studied the
natural world, observing plants, animals, and human behavior to understand how everything fit together. Athens was not perfect. Its democracy excluded women, foreigners, and enslaved people. Its society relied heavily on labor from those who had
no political voice, but the ideas born in Athens, the value of civic
debate, the pursuit of knowledge, the belief in human reasoning, would
echo across centuries.
Life in Athens moved with a gentle rhythm. Days began with work or study. Afternoons brought exercise in gymnasiums shaded by trees. Evenings offered music, social gatherings, or visits to the theatre. Drama was not just entertainment, it was a way to explore the human condition. Tragedies asked difficult questions about fate, pride, and suffering. Comedies teased political leaders and everyday life. Athens thrived during its golden age, but it also faced challenges. Rivalries with other city-states grew stronger, tensions rose, and across the Peloponnese, a very different society watched Athens with wary eyes. Sparta. Sparta lay in the fertile valley of Laconia, surrounded by mountains that created natural barriers. Its isolation shaped a culture completely unlike Athens, where Athens valued learning and debate. Sparta valued discipline, strength, and unity. From an early childhood, Spartan life was dedicated to producing warriors capable of defending the city-state. A newborn child was examined by elders. If the child appeared weak or unhealthy, they were not permitted to remain. Those who stayed were raised with a strict sense of duty. At age 7, boys entered the agoge, a rigorous training system designed to build endurance, courage, and loyalty. They learned to hunt, to fight, and to survive with minimal resources. Pain and hardship were seen as preparation for future battles. Spartans spoke little but acted decisively. Their armor was simple but effective. Their shields represented not just personal protection but the safety of the entire phalanx formation. In battle, Spartans fought side by side, forming a wall of shields and spears. Discipline mattered more than individual bravery. Women in Sparta held more independence than in most Greek cities. They managed estates, oversaw households, and trained in physical fitness. Their strength was believed to contribute to the strength of future warriors. Spartan society relied on their stability, while men served in the military. Despite their stern nature, Spartans valued music, poetry, and ritual. Songs were used to coordinate movement and build unity. Festivals honored the gods with dance, athletic contests, and feasting. But always, the center of life remained the military. Sparta's government balanced kingship, councils, and assemblies. 2. Kings ruled together, supported by elders who guided important decisions. This structure maintained stability for centuries. Tension between Athens and Sparta eventually erupted into the Peloponnesian War, a long and exhausting conflict that reshaped Greece. Athens suffered from plague, political turmoil, and military loss. Sparta, though victorious, emerged weakened as well. Yet the contrast between the two cities remains one of the most striking. In ancient history, one devoted to knowledge, art, and democracy, the other to discipline, strength, and martial excellence. Together, they show the diversity of Greek civilization and the many ways people sought meaning, order,
and purpose in their lives. Religion in ancient Greece was woven into every part of life. The Greeks believed the world was shaped by powerful gods who lived on Mount Olympus. Zeus, the king of the gods, ruled the sky and thunder. Hera protected marriage and family. Poseidon controlled the sea, while Demeter watched over crops and the harvest. Athena guided wisdom and strategy. Apollo shaped music, healing, and prophecy. Artemis guarded the wilderness. Ares embodied the anger of war. Each god had distinct powers, stories, and symbols. These gods were not distant or unreachable. Greeks believed the gods, walked among them, blessing, guiding, or testing mortals. Temples were built to honor particular gods, each with a sacred space where offerings were made. Visitors brought fruit, wine, bread, or small figurines. Priests performed rituals during festivals, calling for protection, good, harvests, or victory in battle. Myths explained how the world worked. The story of Persephone described the turning of the seasons. The tale of Prometheus taught the price of giving humans fire. Heroes like Heracles, Theseus, and Perseus faced impossible challenges to restore balance and defeat monsters. These stories were shared around hearths, in marketplaces, and through dramatic performances. Festivals were among the most joyful events in Greek life. Cities celebrated birthdays of gods with music, dancing, feasting, and athletic competitions. The Olympic Games, held in honor of Zeus, drew athletes from across the Greek world. Chariot races, running events, wrestling, and discus throws showcased skill and strength. Victors earned wreaths of olive leaves and eternal honor for their families. Theatre was another form of worship. Plays were performed in large, outdoor theatres built into hillsides. Tragedies explored deep questions about fate, justice, and human suffering. Comedies used humor to highlight daily life and political conflicts. Audiences laughed, cried, and reflected together. Religion offered comfort, structure, and meaning. It united communities and connected them to their past through prayer, song, and shared celebration. Greeks found a sense of belonging to something greater than themselves. The Golden Age of Greece, particularly in Athens, was a time of extraordinary cultural achievement. Following the Persian Wars, Athens emerged as a powerful city-state and transformed its newfound influence into art, philosophy, and innovation. The city became a center of creativity. Architects built temples with graceful columns and intricate sculptures. The Parthenon, dedicated to Athena, stood proudly on the Acropolis. Its marble carvings depicted gods, heroes, and scenes from myths. Inside, a towering statue of Athena symbolized the strength and wisdom of the city. Artists refined their techniques, creating statues that captured lifelike motion and perfect proportions. They sought to understand beauty through balance and harmony. Potters painted detailed scenes on vases, showing athletes, gods, and moments from daily life. Philosophers pushed the boundaries of thought. Socrates walked barefoot through Athens, asking probing questions that challenged assumptions. Plato explored ideas about justice, truth, and the nature of reality. Aristotle studied plants, animals, politics, and ethics, seeking patterns in everything. Their ideas shaped Western thinking for millennia. Writers composed tragedies that still move audiences today. Aeschylus wrote about justice and divine order. Sophocles explored human strength and vulnerability. Euripides delved into emotion, conflict, and the struggles of ordinary people. Athletics flourished as well. Training grounds echoed with the sounds of runners, wrestlers, and discus throwers. Sports were not just physical contests. They represented discipline, honor, and excellence. Even with great achievements, Greek life was not free from conflict. Rivalries between city-states intensified. The Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta drained resources and morale for decades. In the end,
No city truly won. The war weakened Greece as a whole, leaving it
vulnerable to rising powers. Despite this, the impact of the Golden Age endured. Its art, ideas, and values became the foundation for later civilizations. The spirit of
inquiry, creativity, and exploration continued to echo across the world.
thank you for spending this time exploring the world of ancient Greece, from quiet villages shaped by mountains and sea, to bustling marketplaces filled with conversation and color, to temples where gods were honored with music and celebration. Greece remains a place of wonder. Its thinkers, artists, warriors, and storytellers each left something behind, threads that still weave through our world today. As you rest, now, let the calm rhythm of history settle softly around you. Let your thoughts drift gently like waves along the Aegean coast.
You've traveled through centuries of culture, ideas, and daily life.
Now, it's time to rest. Breathe deeply, let your body relax, and allow yourself to drift into peaceful sleep. Good night.